Well, Edmonton sucks.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to From Center Ice, the podcast. My name is Courtney.
I'm Jonny Rockford.
I have a guest with me today. How about that?
Shout out to Jackie, who is on the beach, where I will be next week.
Yes. Where are you going?
I'm going to Florida.
Where in Florida?
Daytona.
Oh.
My niece is graduating, so we're going to go visit her, and
That's exciting.
we're driving down on Memorial Day, so...
I'm sure there won't be any traffic.
Oh, totally. Nope. It's definitely not going to rain. There's definitely not a tropical storm brewing down in the ocean either. Yay.
Well, maybe it'll just take a slight northern turn and go hit the Carolinas, where the hurricanes are.
Well, it's because, yeah. Hurricanes, because I get it.
Yes.
I got it.
The
Cool.
hockey team,
Yeah, and
Dumb jokes.
Yeah. Yay. Off to a great start.
I haven't had enough coffee. We had a very late night last night.
Yeah, playing NHL until 2 a.m. is probably not the best idea.
Nope.
But when I get off at 11, that's the only time to do it.
And there was a triple overtime game last night, so then I got on later, so then we were on even later.
Yeah, as we said earlier, the Oilers suck.
They do. But that's where these jerseys come from. There are EASHL jerseys.
Designed by yours truly.
Heck yeah. And then you got ones actually made. If
Yes,
you're
I
listening to the audio version of this podcast, that was terrible podcasting. But we have jerseys behind us that we
Who
wear.
listens to audio?
I
It's all
don't
about the
know.
videos.
Yeah.
All on YouTube. YouTube.com/FromCenterIce. I think that's what it is, right?
Yeah. Well, it's /C/from Center Ice. Whatever. I'm sure it would take you there if you did the other thing. Because we have finally got a fancy URL. I'm so excited.
Awesome.
Yeah. Once you get those 100 subscribers that we finally hit. Thanks to Canada.
Thanks, Canada.
Thanks, Canada.
Instead of blame Canada, we're thanking Canada.
Oh, yes.
Well, you guys are. I'm not part of your podcast.
Screw Canada. But yeah, it's playoff time, and it's been a little over a week into the playoffs now.
Yeah. It started, 2 Saturdays ago? Wasn't it Saturday? All I know is I was off.
A week ago Saturday, I want to say.
It was, Saturday, May 15th.
Which
Judging
was
by my phone.
the last Ice Hogs game that they lost to
they won
the
the one-
Chicago Wolves.
But they won the last home game, so
They did. They did.
it's good.
Do you have any thoughts on the Ice Hogs this year before we get into playoff hockey? Since they are not involved in any sort of playoff hockey.
They wouldn't have been, even if there was a playoff.
Truth.
They were not good. They showed signs of being good, so that's positive. In a weird world that we're living in right now, with no playoffs in the AHL and all that stuff, that's all you can really ask for. It's a developmental league. It's been that way forever. Playoffs are just a cherry on top.
Yeah, Wolves.
Yeah, nobody cares that you won.
Nobody
all
cares.
right? Nobody cares that you and the Admirals. You better give half credit
This
to them.
stupid two-headed monster. I'm so glad that it's gone now.
I like how the two parent clubs of them are duking it out right now.
It's pretty amazing. First round matchup.
Are there former teammates that played this year playing against each other right now? I haven't
Yeah.
paid that much attention. That's
Yeah.
insane.
One that comes to mind because I hate him is Tanner Jeannot on the Nashville Predators.
I hate all
Fourth
Predators.
liner?
So.
Well, yes. I don't know if there's one Predator that I like. Usually I can pick a guy off any team and find one that I like. I don't know if there's a Pred that I like. You know what? I have to look at their roster now.
I don't hate Forsberg.
I hate his fucking mustache.
That's fine. You can do that.
Oh, can I?
I
Do you not hate the mustache?
hate most mustaches, despite me having a bad one.
It's not as bad as Austin Matthews when he had that
All of
thing.
his facial hair.
Does he still have the I don't even know anymore.
All I know is he's just laughing every single game because people are bullying him.
It's pretty amazing.
I love I ain't doing shit
Oh my God.
last night. It was awesome.
That was fantastic.
I only saw the GIF versions. I was working, but
Let's see. I am not seeing a single name that I like yet. Especially not Matt Duchene.
yeah, I actually used to like Kevin Fiala, but he's a Minnesota Wild now. So
He is, yeah. And Eric Holla used to be a Minnesota Wild. Then he went to Carolina and now Nashville. Now they're playing each other. Oh, Philip Tomasino was with the Wolves this year too.
Gross. Who did they trade? Didn't they trade Fiala for somebody from Minnesota, or did they just leave him free agency?
They did.
Was it Holla?
No.
Do they not even have him anymore?
Was it the Granlund deal?
Perhaps.
It might have been.
Perhaps.
I don't really feel like looking it up, but I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, let's go with it.
I'm locking in my answer.
We know what we're doing. Good answer. Good answer.
Family Feud.
Dude, I'd kill it on that show.
I'm trying really hard to pick somebody. I really am.
Yeah, I don't like Pecorine.
God, they have a lot of defensemen.
That was been their MO since they went to the finals in 2017.
And then what happened?
They got spanked by Pittsburgh, and I'm sad.
They got Pecorine is what they got.
Wow.
And it was beautiful.
I don't know. I was rooting for Nashville that series. I don't like Pittsburgh. I hate Pittsburgh.
That was a very conflicting series for me because I didn't want Pittsburgh to win again, but Nashville, so bad. It was like when St. Louis went up against Boston,
I was
very clearly rooting for Boston.
I was very clearly not rooting for Boston.
How do you root for the Blues?
Because I can't root for Marchand.
That's
I cannot
fair,
root for Marchand.
But the Blues.
I know. I was not happy about my choice. But Marchand, we got the crying Marchand meme, so you know what? Some good came out of it.
That's fair.
Because I look at that picture and it cheers me up every time. That was the playoffs. He was licking everybody too.
Oh, was it that year?
I'm pretty sure. 2 years ago.
That fucking guy.
So
I hate how good at hockey he is.
That's another reason of like, you're so good. You don't need to do that stuff. Why are you doing that?
Just like Tom Wilson.
I don't want to talk about him either.
Well, we're going to get there eventually.
Well, true.
You know what? All right. Calle Jarnkrok. That is my Nashville Predator that I don't mind. Yes, because when... was it when they were playing Nashville? I don't know. During a Blackhawks game this year, Pat Foley called Matthias Janmark Calle Jarnkrok. And it was pretty great. And it was funny. And I just thought of that when I saw his name. So that's my answer. I'm locking it in.
Okay.
The one Predator that I like.
I'll go with Forsberg because wasn't his dad Peter Forsberg in Colorado? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So comes
also,
from a good lineage.
He was part of one of the worst trades. And that's not even a recent history anymore. That was a long time ago at this point. Man, the Caps could use him.
Caps could use a lot of help right now.
That's fair. That is fair. But how do you trade Philip Forsberg for Martin Erat? That was a bad trade when it happened.
There's been a lot of bad trades, man. Like
That's fair. That's fair. It's not like we have very much room to talk because our team is good at doing that. But they also make some good trades.
They made good trades this year.
Getting Dominic Kubalik for a fifth was a very good trade.
Yeah. Pretty much all the moves we made right for the trade deadline were good too.
Mm-hmm. What did we get? A second? And
I don't remember the details.
For Janmark or Jarnkrok. But that was a very good trade. What else did we do? We got Adam Gaudette for Matthew Highmore.
Freddie. I know it's Matthew Highmore. We called him Freddie Highmore because he was the kid that was in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, okay. I was like,
as well as
Freddie?
The Good Doctor and Bates Motel and all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
That guy.
Wait, he was in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
He was Charlie.
Was he really?
Charlie Bucket. The Johnny Depp one. The bad one.
Yeah, that movie sucks. That just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's why we called Matthew Highmore Freddie, because
okay.
My dad liked Bates Motel, and he kind of likes A Good Doctor.
That's a great show. I finally finished it last year. That was my quarantine watch.
I've not watched it.
Really?
All my quarantine watches are like old school stuff that I've seen 1,000 times.
That's fair.
Breaking Bad. Boy Meets World. I think that was pretty much it. Just on loop.
It seemed like you were going to go through this long list, and then you got two.
Bring out like the giant list.
I need a scroll.
Breaking Bad. And that's it.
That's it. Let's see. What else have I watched?
Movies, I would assume.
I have watched a lot of movies, which is different for me because I'm usually very bad at movies.
Yeah. I started rewatching the Saw movies because Spiral came out. I got to go watch Spiral. I might do that Saturday. I'm off before my vacation starts on Saturday.
Nice.
Yeah, after working 12 straight days, it'll be nice to have a day off and then go back to work and then leave.
How long are you on vacation for?
Week and a half.
Wow.
Monday through the following Wednesday.
Wow, that's a good vacation. Are you in Florida that whole time? Or are you
we're driving down. So we'll actually be in Nashville Monday night staying. I wish there was a game going on that day because I probably would have gone to see it. Mm-hmm. But I also don't have like $400 for the cheap seats.
Is that what they're going for?
I assume, because I know it's not a full house.
Right.
So I know everyone bumped up the prices for everything.
You know, Nashville, they have a nice arena.
Plus, I'm a Blackhawks fan, so it's really going to go through the roof.
That's true with the Illinois credit card.
That's so dumb.
Yeah.
You're from Illinois, so we're going to make sure you can't come to the games.
Like there's no Preds fans that live in Illinois.
Yeah.
Like, what? It's so dumb.
Like, why wouldn't you want to sell out your stadium? Like, that's money. That's why I thought Tampa Bay was stupid. That's why I think...
didn't the Blues do something like that, too?
I'm not sure. I know the Lightning did it in 2015 when the Blackhawks went down there for the Stanley Cup, and it doesn't make any sense.
And guess what? They fucking lost.
Yeah. And you wonder why? Maybe it's because you didn't want to sell tickets. We're like, all right, fine.
Mm-hmm. Amalie is a nice arena, too, though.
I need to start going to away arenas.
But it's like right in the middle of Tampa Bay, like right downtown. It's just it's kind of like Wrigley Field, just in the middle of a city block, except there's a little more room. It's not just like you're on the street and then you're inside of Wrigley. But it's cool. I preferred the BB&T Arena, Panthers.
Oh.
I can never remember.
You've been to both?
I have, yeah. We went down to Florida and we just did a swing through both of them.
Nice. Looks like Tampa is going to win their series, so maybe there'll be a game by the time I'm down there, and I can drive 3 hours or more to go see that game.
You could. I drove directly from the Panthers arena up to Tampa Bay after that game because we had like no time to do it. But the drive's really not too bad. And the drive down, have you done the drive down to Florida?
It's be the first time.
It's not too bad either. Are you going like during the day or driving overnight?
I'm driving during the day. Okay. Leaving around sunrise. And
okay.
So we should get there around probably 2 at Nashville at least.
Yeah.
Around 2, and then we're driving to Atlanta on day 2, spending the night just outside of Atlanta. Not my decision.
Okay.
And then waking up pretty early to get to Florida around earlier than that, probably like 10 or something.
Okay.
And then, yeah, be there and probably should get there around 11 because checkout is at 11 when you stay at a hotel. So I assume check-in would be after 11.
It's usually around 2 or 3.
Oh, okay.
Because they have to have time to clean and whatnot. But once you're through Illinois, you're like halfway there. So after your first night,
long state.
It's ridiculous.
There's a lot of like wide states like Tennessee and Kentucky, and then there's just Illinois. It's like
it's especially coming back. So you you cross the state line, go through Paducah, and you're like in Illinois.
Paducah, what a name.
Kentucky, yeah.
Paducah.
That's right across the river when you get out of Illinois. But yeah, you're like, oh, welcome to Illinois. You're like, oh yeah,
cool, we're almost there.
No, you still have a whole half of your drive to go.
Ridiculous.
It's so bad.
Yeah, I think we're only spending the night once on the way back, so that'll be like Monday to Tuesday.
Okay.
Get back around Tuesday night and then have all Wednesday to recuperate before I go back to work.
Driving through Georgia, there are cops everywhere.
That's why my dad will be driving through Georgia. I'm driving down to Nashville, and then he's probably going to the next day. Unless one of us gets a headache or eye strain or something, which shouldn't happen. We're only driving like 8 hours a day.
Yeah, I've driven the entire way.
All 18 hours?
Yep.
Give or take?
Yep. From Tampa all the way back to Rockford. I didn't intend to. I meant to switch off with Jacqueline, and that just never happened. So we got back. We were like, how do we get here?
That's not good.
And we listened to the SDP the whole time. So we were that far behind. That is a lot of the Dangle Boys.
And then you stopped listening to them. We're just sick of their voices. Don't want to listen to them anymore.
I'm done.
It's a long time.
I'm behind on him now. I'm trying to catch up.
I have never actually listened to their podcast. I just watch his videos. Yeah. I know.
I don't remember what I got into first, if it was his YouTube channel or the podcast.
I discovered him after the Blackhawks won the 2015 Stanley Cup. That is my favorite Steve Dangle video. He's just talking praise about the Blackhawks and goes crazy.
Beautiful.
He's like, the Blackhawks in the last 3 years have
3 and 6.
have almost as many points as who was it? Dave Bolin had with the Leafs, and that number's 4. If they win it next year, they catch them. It's beautiful.
I think I started watching him after the 2013 collapse by the Leafs.
I think I did see the video before I knew who he was.
But I can't really remember. I just know that once I was watching the Leafs, I was also watching his stuff. I don't know which one came first. That was a long time ago now.
It's 2013. What we said 8 years ago.
Back in the glory days.
That was such a good year.
2013.
Mm-hmm.
It was going on that massive run. What was the record?
23-0-3, I think, or 26-0-3 or something
like that to start the season.
Remember that Flames game being the best one because Ray Emery just stole the show.
Rip Razor.
Ripperoni. That sucks.
Yeah. But the Blackhawks aren't in the playoffs anymore.
No. We should probably get actually on topic.
See,
that's what happens.
It's just depressing that the Hawks aren't in it, so I'm just delaying. But
I mean, at least the good thing is their last playoff win came on my birthday, which has never happened ever in the history of ever.
It did.
It was mine smack dab in the middle of August, and it's like,
There's usually no hockey at all.
Yeah, and they were about to get swept, and they didn't. I'm like, hey, thanks for the birthday gift, guys. I appreciate it.
It was their last playoff win, and
Corey Crawford's last ever win.
Yep, that's the one. I haven't processed it yet. I can't. Playoffs.
They're happening. 3 teams have moved on already.
Yeah, let's start with those, and let's start with the least interesting of them all, which was Boston and Washington.
Yeah,
what happened?
That series was supposed to be a 7-game series. Everyone was like, "Oh man, we can't wait. It's gonna be at least 6 games. It's gonna be dominant." And it's like Boston pretty much just took care of business. Like, they lost game 1, and
how did the Caps finish second in their division?
I don't know.
And then what happened? What wheels fell off?
All of them. Yeah. All of the wheels. They just looked. They didn't even care after like game 2.
Well, first they lost their starting goaltender.
Well,
Vanacek.
Yeah.
So then Craig Anderson came in.
Played fantastic in that first game.
Absolutely, which was great to see.
Yeah.
I love a good old Chicago boy.
I've been rooting for him since the Senators were actually good and got to the Eastern Conference Finals and should have beat Pittsburgh in Game 7, then didn't.
The Senators were good?
Yeah, they were really good. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I remember that series.
About to go play Nashville and didn't win.
But J.G. Pajot had a fantastic game against Pittsburgh in that series. What did he have, 4 goals?
He had a great playoff run.
That's true.
He had like a hat trick against the Rangers, I think. And who was the other team they beat? I don't remember. I think Rangers were the second round.
Okay.
And he had a hat trick in overtime. It was awesome.
And now he's with the Islanders and playing Pittsburgh once again.
And beating them once again. Well, not once again, but beating them for the first time, I guess.
Yeah. But
yeah, I don't know what happened to Washington. I think there's a lot of like behind the scenes issues because that one overtime loss that was on Samsonov. Samsonov, even though I'm pretty sure it should be Samsonov, but whatever. It looks like Samsonov.
Announcers don't know how to pronounce names. That's why we still get Kevin Lankinen.
Yeah, and when he clearly says Lankinen.
I'll never get over it. Like,
even Pat Foley, he's like, it's Lankinen, bro. Like, you work for the team.
I was waiting all season. I was like, when are they going to flip the switch and start saying it right? And they never did it.
Still waiting.
I know. I feel like I have to go back and watch Ice Hog's highlights and see if Joey Z said it right.
Well, he was calling Thomas Yurcho for a while.
True.
I think that's because Yurko was like, no, man, it's Yurcho. And so Joey was like, oh, okay.
Messing with him.
And then me and like everyone behind the scenes were like, it's definitely not. It was like a good like month he was calling him that. And we're like,
I remember that.
He's like, he told me it was Yurcho. It's like, he was messing with you. He's fucking with you.
Remember having that guy on the roster when he did absolutely nothing? Talk about a career that fell off the rails. He was supposed to be really good.
He was good for Detroit, wasn't he? At least for a while.
Really?
And then
Not as good as he was supposed to be.
Yeah, then we traded for him, or we just signed him? I think we just signed him.
I think we just signed him.
And then he was like, yeah, he should be a good Blackhawk fit. And he was like, you're going to get sent down to the Hogs.
And then he did.
And then he did nothing.
All right, so...
What did he do?
He was with Vegas this year? Well, mostly with Henderson, but I didn't realize. And he was with Edmonton last year?
They're in the Pacific Division Final, Henderson.
Yeah, those random-ass playoffs.
Yeah, one division the AHL is having a playoffs.
Oh, he didn't do bad for Rockford. I lied. He had 25 points in 36 games. That's pretty good.
He's one of those bubble players of like, not good enough to play in the NHL consistently, but really good in the AHL.
Yeah.
Like Brandon Peary, like Jeremy Morin,
Poor Peary.
like TJ Brennan.
Yeah.
Just all guys are just lifer AHLers leading teams in goals. And
they always come through Rockford. Ben Smith. Oh, I love Benny.
Ben Smith should have gotten...
I think if he didn't have so many concussions, he would have been an everyday NHLer.
He should have been a Blackhawk.
He should have been a Blackhawk.
He was one of my favorite Blackhawks.
Me too.
He was like one of the nicest guys behind the scenes, apparently, when he was in Rockford. And
I was so mad about that trade for Desi. But, I mean, it ended up working out for the Hawks. But I was so mad.
Nobody was better behind the net than Ben Smith. Mm-hmm. Like, most of the goals that he created were behind the net in Gretzky's office. Because he would just battle the puck, win it, and center it. And
he was a tank. Absolute tank. I'll never forget the goal against Vancouver.
Oh, the overtime one?
Mm-hmm.
Forced Game 7? Mm-hmm. I don't want to talk about Game 7, but Game 6 was fun. He owned LA both 13 and 14 when he played.
Benny?
I don't know if he played in 13, but 14 he was out battling behind the net. I know they went down 3-1 in that series in 14, but I remember there was
we don't
a few
talk about
times.
that series.
Talk about the comeback because I liked the Michael Handzus overtime winner in games 5.
I nearly fell down my stairs. I was sitting at the top of the stairs down here, and that goal went in, and I celebrated so hard and like ran downstairs and just almost fell over and ate shit.
Almost missed a step, and you probably like rolled down at the bottom and got up like,
yes,
I'm trying to learn.
Nothing hurts in the playoffs, except when they lose. Yeah. And the puck goes off of Nicoletti's shoulder.
Thought we weren't talking about it.
Fucking Alec Martinez. And then in game 1 of the Vegas series this year, the puck goes off of him past Fleury, and that's the only goal that they scored that game. I'm like, look, that's how it feels. Now you know how it feels.
Every goal in that Game 7 was just a lucky bounce. Even the Blackhawks ones. It was the craziest Game 7.
I can't bring myself to go back and watch it, and I know at some point I have to, but the pain is so strong.
I had to write a paper on the differences between failing and choking. And that had just happened, as well as the Packers in Seattle NFC Championship collapse that I also can't stand because I'm a Packers fan.
Oh, yeah. You need to come out as a Packers fan on this podcast.
Yeah. Blackhawks, Cubs, and Bulls, but Packers. So I just like good teams, except for this next year because Rodgers.
Look, nobody said the Bears were a good team, okay? There's no argument there.
I don't know. Apparently the Bears are going to win the Super Bowl now. They got Justin Fields, who he's an Ohio State quarterback and who has never done anything.
You know, I didn't know that about Ohio State players until we had Elaine on the last podcast, and she's in Ohio because she lives there and covers the Cleveland Monsters and whatnot.
Nice.
And we brought up Fields, and then she laid that bit of news on us that
running backs do well at Ohio State. Quarterbacks do not. They're not good.
You know what? I blame Elaine if he sucks.
Fair.
Not really,
you don't blame me because
not really though, because she's cool. But yeah, the Bears fans always say that they're going to win the Super Bowl. They're like the Cubs. Next year's our year. Next year's our year. But the Bears never do anything to get better.
Yeah. This is probably their best offseason in decades.
No. Only because they drafted Fields?
Well, yeah.
Did you see all of the players they let go of? Basically, our whole defense, all of the good defensive players, they're just like, no, we can't sign you, actually, because we have money problems.
Well, the reason you have money problems, the reason you guys cut Kyle Fuller is because the Packers are like, hey, we're going to sign him. And then they're like, okay, we'll just match that offer and keep him. It's like, that was overpaying for him. He's good, but he's not that good. And now you had to cut him when you didn't have the money.
Because we signed Andy Dalton.
That too. He's a good backup.
Now I see why you're saying the Bears had the best offseason, because they got worse. Somehow they got worse.
They had the best offseason ever.
Yeah.
Actually, the year they signed Glennon was probably better, because it was like the year they drafted Trubisky too.
Oh, the one they just let walk for nothing? Where'd he go, Buffalo?
I don't know. All I know is Mike Glennon was trash.
He went somewhere out east. Jets? Buffalo? I don't know.
Probably not Buffalo. Jets would make more sense because they're garbage as well.
I'll look it up. I have a computer right in front of me.
I see it.
You do.
I have a phone in front of me too, but I'm not going to use it. I was going to use it to talk about NHL playoffs, but we haven't done a lot of that.
We'll get there. Buffalo! I was right. He went to the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, yeah, Mitch did. Yeah, that's right.
Who the fuck you think I was talking about? We were talking about Trubisky.
I thought you were talking about Glennon because I brought up Glennon.
No.
Yeah, he did go to Buffalo. I did know that.
He won some games for the
stupid.
Bears, though. Glenn.
Not against the Packers. Trubisky only won one against the Packers. That's fun.
I was going to say, when do they beat the Packers?
They beat the year they went to the playoffs, and then the double doink happened. That was fun. I was covering the Bears. Well, I wasn't personally covering the Bears. I was helping somebody cover the Bears at my other job, or my actual job. And I just didn't want to go back to House Hall the next week, so that double doink, I think, was the will of me, of like, I don't want to go. Just miss it. Of course, they showed all of his misses right before that, of hitting it off the pipe, hitting it off the pipe, hitting it off the pipe, then hitting it off the pipe. They're like, that can't happen a fifth time, can it? And then doink, doink.
It got worse, because that is the Chicago Bears. You think it can't possibly get worse, and then it does.
I love it. It's the best thing ever.
Like, it's so painful, but yet it gave us a fantastic meme. Like, you can't do worse than the double doink when...
I don't know the Bears mascot, his name.
I don't either.
But I love the reaction. He's like, and then drops to his knees and just falls over and hits the pipe. It's amazing.
Remember when Crosby missed all of his field goals and extra points? Remember? That was a thing. That was a thing that happened.
Yeah, then we kept him, and he's been the best kicker in the league since. So, whatever. Even Dan Bailey fell off from the Cowboys. Went to Minnesota. That was his problem.
Who's our kicker now? It's been a long time since Bears season.
Santos?
Yes.
Kyrie?
Yes.
Cairo Santos. Doing good.
He was actually good last year.
Because you couldn't have Eddie Pinheiro, because he did like one good game. And
Steady Eddie.
Yeah, that wasn't... Weren't we a hockey podcast? Aren't you a hockey podcast?
Yeah. See, I was trying to figure out what went wrong with the Capitals, which led to the Bears being terrible.
Bad teams always equal Bears. That's what she's saying.
You're not wrong. You're not going to get an argument out of me when it comes to that, because it's just true.
Yeah. Because we were talking about like what happened and how the wheels fell off and how there's a bunch of disgruntled players. I remember, you know what? I don't know how, as I was on track to talk about this, and then we just got sidetracked because that's what we do.
Go.
Was it game 3 that went to overtime? Hang on.
Didn't they all go to overtime?
Not all of them.
The first 3 of them did, right? But game 3 was the one where Ovi was pissed at Samsonov.
Yeah. That's right, because we were talking about Samsonov, and then we went to Lankinen and Lankinen, and then we went to Joey Z, and then we went to Yurcho, then we went to
Lifetime AHLers. All right, cool.
Okay, back on track, full circle.
I'm glad you were able to track that, because I had no idea how we got there.
Once I remember one thing, I'm like, okay, here's the train. Here's
everything.
Yeah, and you could tell he was mad at him, not anybody else. And it's like, Ovi doesn't do that often. Like, he's usually got his teammates' backs, and that time's like, no.
But, like, that's your rookie goaltender.
Yeah. It happens. I don't even blame him fully. Like, the defenseman should have been like, either say something or beat your guy to the puck.
Like, it wasn't a great play, but it was no Tristan Jarry yesterday.
Luckily, I watched that before I came here, because I didn't see any of that overtime because I was working during it.
I didn't see it either, but I have a friend who's a Penguins fan, and...
I do too, unfortunately.
Yeah. So they brought it up, and then I saw it during one of the intermissions for the other game I was watching. I was like, oh, no.
So then we just pass it to their guy. Oops.
Josh Bailey. But yeah, Ovi had no room to talk. He had 4 points in the series. 2 goals. 2 goals for Alex Ovechkin.
And were they both from his Ovi spot?
I have no idea.
I know one of them was.
I think I watched the first 2 games, and then I was like, I'm done with this series. I'm going to watch a different game.
Yeah, that series just was not fun at all.
No, he had 4 points, and he led the Caps in points for the series.
They did not score a lot, did they?
No. TJ Oshie also had 4 points, but 1 goal and 3 assists.
They scored 2 in Game 3. They scored 3 in Game 2. 3 in Game 1. How did that happen? It went from scores to news.
They won the first game.
They did.
Thanks to Craig Anderson.
Wound up being the only game they won. Go figure. Got killed 4-1. And then lost 3-1 to lose.
You know what I'm really annoyed about?
A lot of things.
You're not wrong. But Taylor Hall going to Boston and just lighting the world on fire.
I hate Boston. And now I hate Taylor Hall. I didn't hate him. Now I do. Because he's a Bruin.
I know. Like, part of me wanted to feel good for him since he finally was in the playoffs and finally got past the first round. But then, like, Boston.
Wasn't there that one year when he was with the Devils where they went to the playoffs and then got beat in the first round by like 4 games to 1? Was it 2018? 2018, right? Yeah, right? Mm-hmm.
Did he go to the playoffs with the Devils? No, because they got the first overall pick when he was with them. Was he with them for more than a year?
No, because he was there when he won the MVP. And I think that's the year they went to the playoffs. And I think they lost in the first round. Don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
You are right. Oh, he went to the playoffs with the Coyotes too. Last year. Well, the bubble. He had when the Devils went to the playoffs in 17-18, he played 5 games and had 6 points, 2 goals and 4 assists. Last year in the bubble, he had 6 points, 2 goals and 4 assists. This year, he's got
6 points.
3 points so far.
He's got 3 more coming.
He has 2 goals and 1 assist. So he has 3 more assists in him.
And 1 more goal.
No.
Or, right. Yeah. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah. 3 more assists, and then they'll get eliminated.
If he finishes this playoffs with 2 goals and 4 assists, that would be amazing. I think he would genuinely be considered cursed at that point.
I think February 4th would become Taylor Hall Day. Mm-hmm. Because 2 goals, 4 assists, 2-4. Yeah.
And he wears number 4. He did wear number 4.
I think he wears like the big number now, doesn't he?
Is it 74 now?
No, that's isn't that DeBrusque?
Is it?
In Boston? It's somebody. I know I've seen 74 on there before. I could just help you.
It's fine. Oh, 71.
71, yeah.
I was so close. I was 3 numbers off. Like, he's 3 points off from hitting his playoff total.
74, Jake DeBrusque. I hate the Bruins. How do I know that?
Hey, I should know that from the Toronto killings of Jake DeBrusque.
I don't want to talk about those either. 3 times, man. 3 times. 3 times. Game 7, 3 times. Come on. We'll lead in 2 of them. Come on. Speaking of 4-1 collapses, Edmonton. They had a lead in the last, 2 games? Mm-hmm. A 2-goal lead, too, at least. And
Monday night, it was 4-1. That's how we got there. With, 8 minutes to go in the game.
Mm-hmm. And then 1 goal happened, and then it was 2 minutes later, they scored 2 in 27 seconds, or I think it was 18 seconds. It was 1 more second than the Blackhawks, 17 seconds. Mm-hmm. And then they lose in overtime. And then you just see Connor McDavid.
Ehlers. I didn't watch I might have tuned in at the end of the 3rd period. I think I saw them tie it up, but I didn't watch the rest of the game. But I saw on Twitter that there was madness happening, so I had to watch because when there's madness, I tune in. And then I saw the overtime win. I was like, oh, no. Oh, no.
Then we had our first triple overtime game last night, which was intense and insane.
That was
crazy plays left and right.
Worst hockey I have ever seen.
It was not good. We were playing Chell by the time I got home, so by the time overtime hit with with our buddies, and you weren't playing yet, but I had it on my phone while we were playing. Every time I look down, like somebody's doing something stupid. Like the whole, like I think the beginning of the first overtime, they were just not even. They looked like they were just dead tired. Every player
they
on
went
the
to
ice,
overtime
like,
the night before, and that was an intense game. And
the
that
Blackhawks would have done it, and they would have won. Edmonton, ain't no excuse.
Triple overtime games and the Blackhawks are just synonymous in the playoffs.
Yeah, they usually win them, but then they
do.
lose the next game. I came across a post on my Facebook I posted back in 2015 of we usually win these triple overtime games, but the game after we always lose, so it's bad.
Was the headbutt game a triple overtime?
Yes, that's the longest game in Blackhawks history.
Marcus Kruger won it because
Shaw,
who else?
Shaw should have won it.
That should have been a goal.
As Steve Dangle would said, the referee should have the ability to be like, it's against the rules, but it looked cool, so I'll allow it. Because it was awesome.
Right? How epic would that have been? And it's still epic. Everybody loves the headbutt goal.
If he hadn't assaulted by like, yeah, I did it on purpose, they would have been like, okay, it went off his head. But then I show the replay of.
It was so good.
There's a reason they let him play soccer in the hallways.
Right?
Like, let them butt it in with their heads.
Exactly.
Like, who else is going to butt their head with a rock-hard rubber puck?
A goalie. That's about it.
Well, he has an entire giant mask on. Yeah, if they can make saves with
their masks.
Yeah, then we should be able to headbutt goals in.
It always makes me gasp when they go for the headbutt save. I'm like, you're gonna get a concussion.
That's because we're Crawford fans, and that's exactly what happened.
All I can see is that Shea Weber slap shot going off of Corey's head, and the concussion spotters didn't take him off.
Because concussions are stupid. They're not that bad. Remember when everyone was like that?
That's still what the NHL thinks.
The NFL's like, no, they're bad. If they have a concussion, they're not playing for at least a week.
Right.
At least.
If the NFL can get it
Unless
right.
your name's Devontae Adams.
You know. But the NHL, they're like, you feel okay? All right, get out there.
That's why Car Bomb's starting to like sue. Like, we need to figure this out, guys. Like, a lot of people's playing careers are coming to an end. Crawford, Shaw.
Yeah.
In the same year.
Same year.
Seabrook, but that's like his legs or something.
His whole body broke down. He got so much shit in his final years here, but
just think
he was just a warrior for the Hawks.
If Taves doesn't play another game, we lost 3 of our centerpieces in a year. 4 if you include Hossa from, 4 years ago?
I'm still not over that one. How am I supposed to get over Crawford retiring if I haven't gotten over Hossa retiring yet?
That's when the dynasty died, when Hossa
It did.
just couldn't play anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody knew about it, and he was just like, yeah, I've been having these rashes for years now. It's like, why didn't you
Just
tell
wanted
somebody?
another cup. Now I'm done.
We came back for, 17? The last year we made the playoffs, and then there was the 16. I know he scored a goal against the Blues in 16.
Fucking Eric Gustafsson in game 7.
Nobody scored a goal in 17.
3 goals in 4 games. Ugh. See, this is playoff pain. And everybody else who isn't a Hawks fan or a Penguins fan or a Kings fan is like, shut the fuck up. But it's just so painful.
We could have had 4 in 6 years instead of 3.
We should have had a 3-peat. Fuck the Kings. Fuck Jonathan Quick.
Sorry,
I hate that
Thompson,
team.
if you're listening.
I'm not sorry. Fuck that team.
I hate the Kings.
Fuck that team. But Edmonton.
Edmonton sucks too.
The team
Fuck
that
that
the
team.
Blackhawks beat in the bubble.
They shouldn't have beat. Like, let's be honest. Edmonton should be way better than they are right now. They should be in the Western Conference Final picture every single year.
They have 2 of the best players in the league and the best player in the world.
Well, that's what people say, and then he gets to the playoffs and like, I forgot how to hockey.
To be fair, I saw on Twitter this morning.
Oh boy.
I didn't verify it, but it came from a solid source. I want to say it was Don Lichison. It's too early for me to say his name. I am so sorry.
At noon.
This is my first cup of coffee, all right? We just talked about how late we were up, but I think it was him. Maybe it was Rachel Dory. I don't know. One of those two. One of the stats people said that Connor McDavid didn't draw any penalties in all 4 games. When obviously that's not correct because players hang all over him.
Yeah, like he's...
So...
Which means there might be something to do with the referees. Like, we're not going to give you any calls today. Or tomorrow, or the next day.
Are you saying that NHL officiating is bad?
No, of course not.
We're going to get hit with a fine.
As long as they don't watch the video, no, they're doing perfectly fine.
You know what? I would take the fine for that because...
As long as it's the Tom Wilson fine, we don't get suspended for doing nothing. Which, we talked about Boston and Washington, didn't talk about Tom Wilson.
Tom Wilson.
He's trying to end people's careers by slamming their head into the ice? Fine.
And then
now if Kadri accidentally hit him with his elbow while he was skating past, suspend him for the whole playoff series and maybe the next one.
Like I'm going crazy because the internet thinks that Kadri hit was awful, but I've watched it and I've rewatched the replays and I say that is a terrible outcome and I feel horrible for Justin Falk. But you see that hit every game and it wasn't a bad hit. It was an unfortunate outcome, but you can't suspend because of an outcome. Yeah. And you can't go around saying, oh, it's because the league wants to get headshots out of the game. Because they proved that's not the case with Mr. Tom.
He had a dude on the ice, and a rookie of the Rangers on the ice, and just punched him in the back of the head, which is the worst place to get hit in the head, by the way, apart from the temple.
Yeah.
Because that's where most of your fucking equilibrium's coming from.
And then
headshots, and then just drags Panarin's head down to the ice.
Slams it into the ice.
On purpose, and then flexes like an idiot. I hate him more than I hate Marchand, but I was still rooting for the Capitals for some reason, even though I love Bergeron and Tuukka Rask.
Yeah, I was rooting for the Caps too. I just feel like
I should have been rooting for Boston, but I don't know why I hate Marchand more than I hate Tom Wilson. I don't understand my logic.
Like the Caps had less of a chance of going to the final if they won. So I was rooting for them so you could get like both teams out.
Yeah.
But now Boston's in, and sometimes they just find magic, and Tuukka goes elite Tuukka instead of the Tuukka Rask that Boston fans hate.
He'll be elite until he gets to the finals, if they get to the finals, and then he'll
Pecorino?
just fall apart. I mean, yeah.
But how the fuck does Tom Wilson come away from that with only a fine?
The fact that he gets a fine despite having been suspended for like half a season at one point.
Right.
And Kadri, who, granted, does it every playoffs, but gets suspended almost every playoffs for hits that like are bad, yes, but not intentional.
Kadri should have been suspended.
Yes.
That doesn't negate the fact that Tom Wilson also should have been suspended.
Well, it was a meaningless game in the regular season, so we'll just let him slide.
I really wonder if it wasn't right before the playoffs, if they would have suspended him.
It was like, well, the appropriate suspension's probably lingering into the playoffs, but we need Tom Wilson in the playoffs, so fine him.
Yeah, look how fucking good that did him. I know he assisted on the one winning goal that the Caps got, but...
He also had the first goal of the entire playoffs.
You're right. He did.
I think that's all he did, though. I didn't hear his name.
It was just that first game, basically.
And then they lost. Huh. Go figure.
Imagine that. Because the whole team was garbage. Like, when you only have Ovechkin scoring 2 goals...
Ovechkin's very good, but he's so predictable. I don't know
but
how
it still works.
I don't know why he has that many goals. Like, he's just going to stay there. Plant somebody in front of him.
That's what I always say.
Yeah, it leads to a 4-on-3 the rest of the ice, but don't let Ovi get his spot. Just stand right in front of him.
Right. I think you're better off playing it as a 4-on-3 than just leaving Ovi there. I say the same thing about Tampa. They just leave Kucherov open all the time. You know he's going to shoot. You know he's going to score. Why don't you cover him?
I'm so sick of Tampa, too.
But they're getting Spencer Knighted.
Good. Mm-hmm. Absolutely fantastic. When I saw him in net, I was like, oh, good. They have a chance. They don't have a trash goaltender.
Rookie goalie. This is exciting. And then he won. But we'll get to that series.
Yeah.
Edmonton.
Back to Edmonton. I don't think anybody had Winnipeg sweeping in 4. I think some people did have them beating them because it's Edmonton.
Yeah.
But I never saw a sweep. I saw at least a 6-game series there because...
I think in both brackets that I made, I had Edmonton winning just because McDavid and Draisaitl
I'm pretty sure I had them in the Final Four for some reason.
They were the top 2 point getters in the league in the regular season. And
But not the number one goal scorer. That was Alex DeBrincat. Hey.
no, it was Austin Matthews.
Was it?
It was. With 42. He was so close.
Well, I like Austin Matthews too. That's fine.
Yeah. But
That's right.
I don't remember what I was going to say.
You were saying that Edmonton sucks and Winnipeg came to play.
They have the top 2 point getters in the league, and Draisaitl was almost 20 points ahead of the third place point scorer.
Mm-hmm.
And
so far ahead.
Their GM, Ken Holland, right?
I do not know, actually. I'm not a big GM name guy.
I think it's Ken Holland. Said after the trade deadline or before that you can't go all in every season. That's why they didn't make moves.
That's right. You need depth to win anything, especially championships. You need people behind you. All they have is McDavid and Draisaitl at this point.
I've started calling them McDravid.
McDavid? Okay. All right.
Yes.
I mean, look at the Blackhawks. Most of, like, Patrick Kane was still Patrick Kane. Taves was still Taves. But you had people like Kruger stepping up. You had people...
When it comes to the playoffs, you need the depth scorers because your top lines are going to get canceled out.
And look at 2013. The fourth line won the game.
Yeah.
Boland, Kruger, and Frolik. Mm-hmm. It's insane. Like you
From
need...
a Johnny Oduya shot.
Man.
That was a good team.
I love...
But you can't just have this two-headed monster up front and expect to win and then bring back the same goaltending tandem that lost to the Blackhawks in the bubble.
The Blackhawks team that couldn't score. They could score this year. They couldn't score last year.
Right. Because last year, DeBrincat was snake-bitten to hell.
Yep, he pipes every single game.
And Matthew Highmore was scoring in the bubble for the Hawks. He was fantastic in the bubble.
I love that shut off Leonard's mask. And then
that
was the game they won. That was on my birthday.
My favorite goal from the bubble was the Dylan Strome, Mike Smith butt goal. But, you know, that's just because I hate Mike Smith.
Mike Smith's an idiot.
But Koskinen was already on the contract because Chiarelli signed him to that 3-year massive deal directly before getting canned, which how do the owners approve that? But Mike Smith, his contract was up after the bubble, and they re-signed him.
Let's resign the old man.
I don't care how good of a regular season he had, and he did have a good year because he just comes out with these seasons every once in a while where he's like, elite Mike Smith. But
like 2012.
You know, that's when I started hating him, and everything went to shit because he went down like he was shot when Andrew Shaw barely touched him. Fucking diver. I hate that.
This isn't basketball, man. You can't do that.
I hate him so much. And him and Jordan Bennington both got swept, and I am thriving over here. But how do you bring back that same goaltending tandem?
Lost to a team that could not score last year.
Yeah.
Beat you.
And they had to use both goaltenders because Mike Smith shit the bed. Koskinen wasn't any better. He was slightly better than Smith.
I mean, they won a game.
Yeah.
They switched to him.
Yeah. And they barely added any depth. They added Kyle Turris. That was this offseason, right? Because Nashville bought him out.
Yeah.
So you add Kyle Turris.
Yay. Let's go win a cup with Kyle Turris.
Puljujärvi came back from playing in Europe. They added Tyson Barrie.
Oh, yeah.
That was the big acquisition.
Leafs legend.
Yeah. But none of those players make your team better. Like, Barrie will score goals for you, especially being on the power play with those two. Yeah. But they're not going to win you championships.
I don't understand the management there.
Me either. And no, maybe you can't go all in every season due to cap restraints and bad contracts or whatever. But this season, with those two so clearly ahead of everybody else, how do you not try? With the season they had.
Did they do anything at the trade deadline?
I don't think so.
Did they sit and stand pat?
I don't know that they did anything. They might have added a depth player or two, but...
That worked out well for them.
Yeah,
and
right?
They need depth, and they didn't do it? Blackhawks won their cups because of their depth. That 2010 team was absolutely stacked.
Oh, they added Dmitry Kulikov.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that did nothing. He didn't do anything.
They got Tyler Ennis in February.
Tennis.
Which, good player, not going to win you championships.
No.
Oh, wait, they got Tyler Ennis last year. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're way off.
They've made one trade in 2021. That's why I was all the way back there. I was like, oh, April, February, obviously, just ignoring this October in the middle.
Ignore the
That's
2020.
all they've done. That is the only trade they have made.
You can't go all in every year, Courtney.
Oh, my bad.
Maybe you should go all in on 1 year then, maybe. Yeah?
Right?
Remember in 2017 when you guys made the playoffs and you actually looked good until you faced the
Ducks.
you lost to the Ducks in Game 7. What is your problem? That's worse than anything. That's worse than getting swept by the Jets. 'Cause the Ducks don't win Game 7s. That's the Blackhawks and the Kings. And that other team that beat them also. Was it? Oh, the Red Wings in 2013.
All right, so since October of 2020, they re-signed Jesse Puljujärvi. They re-signed Tyler Ennis. They signed Kyle Turris. Seth Griffith, AHL player. Anton Forsberg, who went through waiver hell this year. Yeah. Is he with Ottawa now, I think? I think that's where he ended up after all that mess.
All I know is he was a former Ice Hog.
Yeah, he sure was.
Not a good one.
Mike Smith, $2 million contract for Mike Smith.
Only 1 year, I would hope.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Tyson Barrie, 3.75 for 1 year. Chris Russell, they brought him back too. 1 year, 1.25.
None of these moves scream championship moves.
Dominic Cahoon.
No.
Former Blackhawk.
I liked Cahoon.
Slater Cuckoo.
He was a decent face-off guy. I miss Koek too.
He was good in the bubble for the Blackhawks.
He was. I wanted to keep him, and then we just didn't have the money.
Even though he signed for $850,000.
We could have afforded him.
Absolutely. And Drake Caggiula, but, and different conversation.
And I'm pretty sure he had signed before we realized, Taves isn't going to play this year? Fun.
Yeah.
Pretty sure we knew about Seabrook.
They re-signed Ethan Bear for $4 million for 2 years. That's a lot for him. Good defender.
Yeah.
I would take him.
Well, I would take any defenseman.
Fair point.
Because we don't have them.
Devon Shore.
I wouldn't take Calvin DeHaan though. Ooh. Which we already have.
He can go away to Seattle.
Hopefully.
Dylan Holloway.
That's soon.
Entry level deal, and that's it. That's all that they've done.
You can't go in every year, Courtney.
But in this season,
you can't go all in every year.
But this season,
but you can't. You can't go in all in any year, is what he meant to say.
Exactly. And as much joy as it brings me to see Mike Smith losing in the playoffs,
it's frustrating.
I kind of felt bad for McDavid and Draisaitl.
Talking about carrying a team.
Right.
Like, they carried him to the playoffs. And
it's only those two.
Literally. Like, they got no depth scoring either. I mean, in the playoffs they did, because McDavid didn't do a whole heck of a lot.
He had, 1 goal? And it was in the 4th game?
Yeah. Well, I think he had one...
I think he
had one in 3 and 4. Let's look.
I don't think he did.
Let's look. That's today's. Yesterday, McDavid. Hey, Nugent Hopkins got one. That's fun.
He did.
Yeah. Draisaitl had 2 in Game 3. McDavid did not have one in there.
Yeah, McDavid didn't score in 1 or 2.
Oof.
He had 1 goal all series, but again, he didn't draw any penalties, which he should have, so that's on the officiating. I don't know. But that overtime last night, going back to that, was the worst hockey. The refs weren't calling anything. Like, those players were just hanging all over each other.
Yeah, there was so many. They were short periods because there just weren't a lot of whistles. They iced it a few times. They iced it a few times back in like the 3rd and 2nd periods because they were just tired. Like,
The one penalty they had to call was the puck over the glass.
Everyone's favorite penalty.
Fuck. And the Jets didn't score on that.
At least the Leafs cleaned that up.
Fuck, yeah. After game number 1, where they had 3 delay of game penalties.
2 in, like, back-to-back moments. Like, they did it, and then they got out of the box, and they did it again. It's like, what are you doing, man?
That was awful. But, man, Edmonton.
What about the boards? This is the team that everyone, when they finally got to the playoffs in 2017 with McDavid and Draisaitl and Talbot, and they're like, this team should be good in a couple years. Like, we're surprised they got to the second round as it was, but they should make it. And then they missed the playoffs in 18, missed the playoffs in 19.
Got beat by Chicago last year.
Weren't they like one of the worst teams in the league in 2019?
Edmonton?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I know they didn't make the playoffs. Can't check on my phone. I'm pretty sure they were like below the Blackhawks at that point. Maybe not. That might be too harsh on them. But they were around the Blackhawks. They didn't make the playoffs. There's only what? I guess half the league that doesn't make the playoffs.
16, yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
15 that don't make the playoffs.
What do they have to do? First, I would fix the goaltending situation.
First, I would fire the GM.
Also that. They went from Peter Chiarelli to Ken Holland. They got to move out of this old boys club and get some new eyes in there. But they never will.
They won't. I got into not an argument, but a discussion on Twitter. This dude was like, why did God curse me to be an Oilers fan? I'm like, because before you were born, they paid the hockey gods to give them Wayne Gretzky and like 5 Stanley Cups in like 7 years. And now you're paying for it. It's like, yeah, but I wasn't alive then. It's like, doesn't matter. You chose to be a fan of a team that sold their soul to the devil. That's your fault.
Right.
For a long time, we thought Blackhawks were that. And then, hockey gods, you guys have suffered long enough. Here's Kane and Taves and Keith and Seabrook.
And now we're suffering again.
It's fine. It's not going to be 49 years again. We have a great young
The
team
Blackhawks
right
look
now.
more promising than Edmonton does.
I think the Blackhawks would have at least won a game in this series.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have won. I think they could have stolen 2, though, this year against
they
this
might not
Winnipeg
have
team.
won the series. But even Connor Hellebuck didn't look that great.
He made stops when he had to.
He did. And Mike Smith didn't.
I don't know if that's coaching, too. Like, they had a 4-1 lead in the third period.
Oh.
You got to just dump it in, you forecheck, get to the puck. That's all you got to do. Dump it in deep. Get to the puck, and you should be good.
Just close it out, but they can't. They don't have the team to do it.
They're so dumb.
And then Mike Smith gives up that stinker in triple overtime, and it was beautiful. Beautiful. He was good in overtime, though. He made some really big stops until he didn't.
Yep, until the one that mattered.
I can't believe the Jets won that game. I saw them winning that game once it went to overtime. I was like, there's no way that Edmonton's going to win this and have those good feelings going forward. But at the same time, I just can't believe they won. And if I was an Oilers fan, I would be so pissed off.
I'm so sorry, Edmonton.
Yeah. I'd be pissed off at my team, at the management, but then also last night and none of those penalties being called, I would have been raging. Absolutely raging.
You've done that for the Maple Leafs. That's not even really your team.
Yeah.
It's like
my second team.
Mine too. Yay. And then Vegas. Nah. Brandon's running that for me. I don't want to talk about him though. We have like a bunch of other things to get to. We've already been talking for about an hour.
How about the Colorado Avalanche and the St. Louis Blues?
That one wasn't even close. That one was like, this is not
the
gonna
Blues
end
were
well.
bad.
They were terrible. Granted, I'm shocked they made the playoffs to begin with because they were like dead in the water for like the middle part of the season.
They were competing with the Coyotes to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and the Coyotes should have made the playoffs, but they just fell apart at the end.
That would have been such a more interesting series if the Coyotes had made it, I feel like.
I don't know if they would have beat Colorado either. I don't even think a game. Like, I think Colorado was going to sweep whoever they played.
I had this series going to 5 or 6, I think.
You did?
In my bracket.
I think I had 5. I think I had game 5. I just didn't see St. Louis.
I knew Colorado was going to win,
absolutely.
but I thought that St. Louis would just annoyingly find their way into winning a game.
Nah. Bennington didn't win a game, but don't tell Pierre that.
Oh my God. It was a huge jerk-off fest. Every game.
Jordan Bennington's keeping him in this game. It's 3-1, man. Like, it's...
And yeah, he did play decent.
He played well.
He played pretty good.
He didn't play like the best goalie ever made in the history of the NHL, that's for sure.
It's just
but
me
don't
not
tell
wanting
Pierre.
to give him credit, but he did have a good series. The rest of the team,
It's not like he won.
he sure didn't.
I mean, they gave up quite a few goals. I'm sure there's a couple empty netters in there, but if I can go back to the day it started, which was Saturday, May 15th, that's not the day that series started, but
I think they started on Monday. Yeah.
Yeah, 4-1, which
one of those was an empty netter.
Yep, and then 6-3. I'm sure one of those was also an empty netter. I could probably check, but I don't want to waste time on that.
Was that the McKinnon empty netter?
Yeah, that's one where I thought he scored a hat trick, and it wasn't because the first one went off somebody. And then 5-1.
Yeah, it wasn't even close.
But the series was not close. So, Blues fans, I know a couple of you.
You suck.
I'm not going to say sorry because that's kind of what you guys expected.
I've never had a good experience with the Blues fan, so I don't feel bad at all.
Well, one of my best friends at work is a Blues fan. So
I did meet him, and he was pretty nice, but
yeah,
I only met him once, so doesn't
fuck
matter.
him.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck that guy, but more so fuck Jordan Bennington.
Yeah, Bennington and just all the Blues, just St. Louis fans in general.
His
Even
fake
Cardinals
punches
fans.
that he throws. Oh my God. I hate this guy so much.
What a little bitch.
I hate him so much, going back to his Chicago Bulls days. He always threw a fit.
Is he the one that PC LeBrie got into a fight with? I love that.
The year we had Lars Johansson, and he was just standing at the Ice Hogs blue line, just slowly taking off his equipment, like, please don't make me fight this guy. I really don't want to do this. And then the refs took him away. But
that's funny.
Yeah, that was a great game.
Bennington was so trash with the Wolves. How was he doing so well?
He was supposed to go to the ECHL, but he just refused to go, so they called him up, and then he won the fucking cup. Like, what the... That team was good, though, that Blues team. But then they lost, like, everybody.
When they lost was Petrangelo their captain? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they just...
Didn't sign him.
Goodbye.
They wanted to sign Torrey Krug.
They went to Vegas, and they're about to go to the second round, and I have them winning the cup.
Unless Minnesota comes back.
Yeah. Are we switching to Minnesota now?
Hold on, I have a little more Bennington hate first.
Okay, good.
I'm just so glad that this guy lost. Just seeing him upset is so beautiful.
Did you see all, like, 2 Avalanche players keep trolling him on Twitter?
I did.
I think probably because you retweeted it, but I saw it on Twitter.
I did. I forgot what Grubauer said, but I think it was Tyson Yost said, I didn't score this goal, but I just love this picture. Yeah. It's so great. Everybody hates him.
Good, because he's a little bitch.
He is a little bitch. That's why I call him Bitchington.
I remember the Sharks game where he, like, hit Burns and then went to the bench and hit somebody else and then, like, shouldered somebody on his after he got pulled because he gave up, like, 5 goals. Mm-hmm. Being a little bitch.
I hate him so much.
He's the new Jonathan Quick. He's the new... I hate him. He's also pretty lucky. He was pretty lucky that year that they won the cup. He was good.
It had to be lucky.
You have to be good to be lucky and lucky to be good. I get it. But
still.
Crawford was good and didn't have the luck, which is why people are like, he's not that good. It's like,
I will fight. But
she almost threw hands last night.
Sure did. But yeah, Avalanche sweep.
Yep.
Winnipeg sweep. Boston probably should have swept the Capitals.
Yeah.
And
only because of one overtime.
Let's see. There's no other... there is one tied series right now. Carolina and Nashville.
Yeah, tied 2-2. I thought after game 2, it's like, well, this one's essentially over.
Yeah, I thought...
Nashville probably will win one at home because they're pretty tough to play, but there's no way they're going to win both of them. And then they won both of them, both in overtime.
They should have lost the second game in Nashville.
Have 3 of the games in this series gone overtime? I don't think game 2 did, right?
I believe so, yeah.
I'm not. That was overtime because they won. Yeah, Hurricanes beat them 3-0 in game 2. Oh, no. The first 2 were almost blowouts. 5-2 and then 3-0 and then 2 overtime wins. It reminds me
Because hockey is weird.
It reminds me of the 2011 Stanley Cup Final where the Vancouver Canucks won all their games at home, but only by a goal. And I think all three were in overtime. And when the Bruins were at home, which I didn't hate the Bruins back then.
No, I was rooting for them in that series.
Yeah, absolutely. Because fuck Vancouver too.
Yep.
Yeah, but every time Boston played Vancouver at home, they like destroyed them like 7-2 and 6-1 and stuff.
Oh, Tim Thomas. Wins the cup and then fucks off to the middle of the woods somewhere.
He came back the next year. And then it was weird because Tuukka Rask was their starter in 2010.
And then Tim Thomas was
And
just like, hey,
Thomas came in.
I'm here.
I'm gonna win a cup with you guys, and then I'm gonna come back the next year, and then I'm not gonna win. Then I'm gonna leave forever.
So strange.
He's a weirdo.
He is.
He's a weird dude.
He is a really weird
As soon as he
dude.
gave up a goal in overtime, he would just get up and skate off instead of like sitting there like, damn,
Right.
like everybody else does. He just they give up a goal. Okay, bye, see ya on the next one. I'm like, that's cool, but like weird.
Super weird dude.
I think he lost in overtime the next year, and he just skated to the bench and just sat there and waited for the handshake line. You see how every other goalie, they're like, nah,
Yeah. Well, that sucked.
this was not like this.
Yeah, that always happens. This table is so strange.
There we go. I fixed it. I know
Good
how to do
job.
stuff. But yeah, Nashville and Carolina. I think I did have this going 6, so this kind of makes sense to me.
I think I might have had it going 7
I might have 2.
just because of Saros and how much of a heater he was on.
I just know that Nashville is always tough to beat at home. Mm-hmm. Every time the Blackhawks play them in the playoffs, they at least lose a game on the road because they're just tough to play. Look at 2015. They go down 3-0 to Nashville, come back and win, but then they get destroyed the next game. Crawford gets
Scotty
pulled.
Darling.
Yeah, Scott Darling comes in at home and they win, and then he gets back in game 5 and they get destroyed again.
So then Crawford's back.
And then he starts game 6, and then they go up 3-1, and then they pull him, and then they come back. Greatest goal
was a-
of that playoff, Patrick Kane.
Crazy series.
It was a fun series,
It was.
frustrating as fuck,
Yes.
but and the wins were fun to watch.
They were.
Where, yeah, just like in the Anaheim series, the wins were fun to watch. The losses were fucking frustrating as shit.
And then Taves forever destroyed Freddie Anderson. He's never been the same.
That's my favorite loss. Is that game? Like I can't watch the overtime where they lose in game 6, or it was game 5. It was game 5. But just watching Taves score twice in like a minute. The shitty like on the blue line. I'm just gonna fling it towards the net, hoping for a tip. Oh, it
They
went
were
in.
bad. They were bad goals.
Oh, good goal. Well, the one was just a blast. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to stop. But that one that tied it, I was like, oh my god, I thought I wrote us off for good. Oh, we lost.
Yep.
The good old Alec Martinez overtime cup-winning goal on Crawford.
Never forget.
That hurt.
I think Carolina needs to go back and watch that 2015 series.
Yeah.
The Hawks against Nashville.
They'll find out how to win.
Yeah.
Because Nashville's is so tough. Even, especially when they won the cup, or went to the cup final, like, I think they only lost like 1 game at home, and it was overtime. Mm-hmm. Well, 2 because of the...
Yeah.
It's the Penguins won. Penguins have never won the cup on their home ice, so that's fun.
Really?
Yeah, never.
Wow.
That's why I was like really hoping, like, if you're gonna lose in game 6, please. 'Cause I don't want them to win in game 7.
Yeah.
And then they lost with like it was 0-0 to like a minute 30 or something. Patrick Hornquist,
Yeah.
game 6, Mr. Irrelevant of the year he was drafted.
He was taken in the 7th round, wasn't he?
He was the last pick of that draft,
The very last
the
one.
very last pick.
That's awesome.
I was looking up, like, has any Mr. Irrelevant from hockey ever done anything? Patrick Hornquist. Oh, cup clinching goal, Patrick Hornquist. All right.
Now playing for the Florida Panthers. And he got a goal last night.
He did, and I was happy to see it because I believe he had the game winner. He either had the first one or the game winner. I don't remember. I remember saying his name. Maybe I'm completely
Mackenzie
wrong.
Weegar tied it. So, yeah, I think Hornquist had the game winner.
They won 4-1. Mm-hmm. Marchment had the game winner. Hornquist had the...
Insurance goal.
He had the goal 35 seconds into the third period to pretty much take all the air out of the stadium.
Fantastic.
Well, They were in Florida, so bring the stadium to life.
Yes, there you go.
The opposite of what I said.
I thought Tampa was going to win last night.
I did too.
And
I had Winnipeg winning because Edmonton, stupid. I was hoping the Islanders were going to win, but I had Pittsburgh winning that.
I had Pittsburgh winning in one bracket, and I had the Islanders win in another one.
Cool.
But I thought that Tampa had won last night because I saw 4-1, which was the score. But I was just looking at the notifications really quick on my phone. I think I was editing video or I was still watching the Leafs game. I don't know. Well, whichever one.
Also, Brandon messaged our group and was like, well, Tampa's moving on. And we're like, it's 4-1.
That's
Florida.
Probably what happened. I saw that, and then I saw 4-1. I was like,
oh, I mean next game. I'm like, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
And then I had NHL Network on, and I saw Spencer Knight was the first star of the game. I was like, wait a second.
Lose?
What do you mean? And then I was like, oh, they won that game. Okay.
Because they were at home. I think if they win the next game, I think they're going to win it. They're going to do the comeback.
Yeah? If they win in Tampa?
Because Game 7 will be in Florida, and the way that crowd has been this whole
Good
series.
for them, you know? As much shit as they always got for that arena not being sold out, that crowd has been loud.
Nobody's as loud as the Islanders. That's been crazy.
Those fans are passionate. I will give them that.
It's hard to root for anyone out of the East right now, but it's got to be the Islanders for me.
Islanders?
There's a former coworker of mine that works there now
in
the game ops department, so I like rooting for him, and I hate Boston, Pittsburgh, and Washington.
You know,
I don't hate the Islanders.
I wouldn't mind it, but why did it take 2 losses for them to go back to Ilya Sorokin in net? He won game number 1.
They're like, just give it to Varlamov.
And then they lose that game, and he gives up. Was that the one where he gave up the horrible goal from like the blue line? It was like floated over him.
I don't remember. I only saw like the first 3 like full games. Or
Gotcha.
I guess the first game because I've been working ever since. But
so they
I
lost.
try to watch the highlights, but it's hard to put them together.
Yeah, all of these games are kind of running together.
So many. There was 5 yesterday. There's 2 today. I'm not okay with this.
Today?
There's 2.
Toronto and
the Predators.
Oh wow! What time is the Preds game?
7.
And Leafs start at
6:30.
6:30.
Which sucks. I'd rather it start at 6. That way I don't miss that much. Because my break starts at 6
yesterday. Whatever.
My break starts at 6:30, and it won't start till 6:45. So I won't get to see a whole lot.
Yeah, but then they put Varlamov back in for game number 3. Lost to that game. So then we're like, finally, let's go back to Sorokin, and then
they win, and
come
then they
back
win again.
1-2. It's so dumb.
Ride the hot hand. What are you doing?
Right.
That's what Q tried to do. Is like, well, Darling's more hot than Crawford. Let's just roll with Darling. And then he faltered. Like, okay, now let's put Crawford in.
Their goaltending decisions have been weird too, though. Starting Bobrovsky in game number 1, even though Chris Drieger has been better all season. And then both of them have sucked. So now Spencer Knight is in.
Yeah, and he did well last night.
He played very well from what I saw.
Only gave up a goal. That's against
to Tampa. That's good.
With probably the second 2 best players in the league, with Kucherov and Stamkos on the team. Like
at least Kucherov.
Well, Stamkos was that good, and then he got hurted, and now he's
so many times.
Since he signed his extension, has he not been hurt?
I don't think so.
Because he was out last year in the whole playoffs, except for the 1 game.
He was out this year.
He played 2 minutes of the playoffs,
scored a goal,
and still got to raise the cup first. Like you should give it to the alternate captain, the one that
he scored a goal though.
But he didn't lead the team to victory.
No, because he can't.
He shouldn't have lifted the cup first either. If I was the captain, I'd been like, no, this is your guy. Like, I'll take it. Obviously, I played. I'm still a captain. But I'm gonna give it to the alternate captain because I don't feel like I deserved to lift it first.
Hot take.
Just saying, I know that's tradition and everything, but me as a person, I'd have been like, I didn't do a whole hell of a lot. I got a goal. Didn't they lose that game too that he played? They only lost 1 game in the final.
That might have been the cup winning game.
No, it was game 2 or something.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, but I think they won that game.
Okay. I think Dallas only won. I think they won game 3, and then lost the next 2.
That was rough.
Yeah.
Dallas shouldn't have been there.
Should have been in Vegas.
Should have been. But
I think Vegas would have beat them.
Probably. Do you think Pittsburgh or New York's going to win?
think the Islanders are going to win.
Islanders.
Now that they have the lead, and they beat them in with that raucous crowd. It's hard to play against the Islanders against the Islanders in that ruckus of a crowd. Look at the Maple Leafs first time Tavares went there. That I know I feel bad for Tavares. It's I'm gonna hate a guy for wanting to go home.
Right.
I want to play for my home team. If any of these Islanders fans played hockey, wouldn't they want to go back to the Islanders after playing in Toronto for that many years?
Probably.
And look, your team got better. Why would you hate them?
Right.
They started making the playoffs and started winning rounds.
Because they're from New York.
It's just hateful.
I think they win too.
Just imagine that kind of a crowd. Just nonstop hating on Crosby and Malkin and all these fucking assholes that I hate. I don't hate Malkin that much. I hate Crosby.
As I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate Crosby's game. I don't want him to win again.
He's a little bitch. He's just as big a bitch as Bennington. I can't stand it.
No.
Did you watch that Game 5 against Nashville in 2017 when they were up 5-0 and it was a minute left and they didn't call a penalty and Crosby threw a fucking water bottle at the ref?
I don't think I saw that.
Ever since that happened, I'm okay, I definitely don't like this guy. No, fuck that guy. I was yeah, Crosby's good, and I don't like watching him win all the time, but he's good. I can't hate it. And then he did that. I'm okay, fuck this guy. I hate him. You're winning 5-0 with a minute left. Shut the fuck up.
Fair.
I can be dude, come on. That's a fucking penalty. But it's that's a penalty. Stands up, throws a water bottle. You're fucking killing them. They're not coming back with a minute left. Shut the fuck up.
I think the Islanders win too.
Yeah, I do too. Sorry, I went off a rant there.
No, you're fine. I hope they win.
They better win. And then I hope they beat Boston, because I hate Boston.
I think they would have a better chance of beating Boston than Pittsburgh was, especially with Tristan Jarry in net.
Can we talk about how they won last night? Jarry was a puck. I'm going to play it. That's the wrong guy. Oops.
Yeah, he went to play it.
Held it for 3 seconds. What should I do? Option 1 is my guy. Option 3 is my guy. But I like option 2, which is...
I like Josh Bailey. Yeah.
You know what? I talked to him once. He was nice to me. Here's the puck, buddy.
And then
do your worst. Oops.
He gets back in net, and I don't know what that was. That was not goaltending. I don't...
They look like a defenseman trying to play goalie.
Yeah.
That's what that looked like to me.
Except we've seen more defensemen in the playoffs so far make better saves than what that was.
And he gets paid to do that for a living. Mm-hmm. You think they miss Matt Murray right now? The guy who actually got them a cup?
I don't know.
I know he looked like shit the last time he played for him, but...
Remember how they traded Marc-Andre Fleury so they could keep Matt Murray?
They didn't trade him. They just exposed him.
Did they?
He got taken in the expansion draft. They
traded something.
They traded somebody so that they would take Fleury.
Yes. Same thing.
Even though...
What, they gave him a second-round pick or something? I don't remember.
Which they are not allowing teams to do this year.
Really?
Yeah. They said there will be penalties if you guys, trade. Hey, take this guy, we'll give you this guy for free.
Why? That's so dumb.
Because it made Vegas immediately great. And
good.
That's what they should
That's
want.
Been amazing for the league.
Yeah, it brings more fans.
Oh, no wonder they hate it, because the NHL is the NHL's worst enemy.
They're their own worst enemy.
Exactly.
It's a song. There's another song that was probably more famous than that one that I sang, but it's all right.
They really are, though. It's like they don't want people to watch their games, first of all, because they make the schedule horrible. And then they don't know how to market anything.
I want to know why the Canadian playoff games couldn't start until Vancouver finished theirs. Neither of them are in the playoffs. It's not going to matter for them at all. Play the playoff games. Who cares if there's an extra 2 teams?
Right. It had no impact on the series.
At all.
It made no sense.
It made the Blackhawks worse, so they have a better draft pick.
Yes.
We went down in the standings.
We had to root for Calgary to win, so we could move down in the series and have a better chance at getting a lottery pick.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yay.
Well, imagine if they did.
Another top 3. Another Kirby Doc. A new Marian Hossa.
That's when, if the league actually rigs these things, they would want that to happen. With the Hawks looking a bit better now, they would want...
I mean, Edmonton got like 4 first-round picks,
For
first
real?
overall picks in like 6 years. You can't tell me that's.
And what happened? Nothing.
You got McDavid and Draisaitl, and that's it.
Draisaitl was a 3rd pick.
Well, they got Nugent Hopkins and Taylor Hall.
And Nail Yakupov.
And Yakupov and then McDavid. They're like, okay, McDavid's going to be the one for sure. And then he was.
3rd time's the charm.
4th time's the charm.
Yeah.
Because Nugent Hopkins was also first overall pick, if I remember correctly.
Good player.
I love Nugent Hopkins, the Nuge.
I think if he was on a different team, he would
Be better.
be better.
That's why I keep bringing him over to my expansion teams in NHL.
There you go. There you go.
Plus, he wears the number 93. And
That's your number.
it is, because that's the year I was born.
Me too. My number's 50 because
Crawford. I respect that.
So, Vegas and Minnesota. Marc-Andre Fleury is on a whole different level right now, except last night,
Well,
where Minnesota had,
Yeah.
4 goals on 14 shots. One was an empty net.
one was an empty netter.
Yeah.
But it was 3-2. It was 2-0, and then 2-1, and then 3-1, and then 3-2.
There was like a Blackhawks Dallas game where the Hawks beat them with only 16 shots. Twice, I want to say.
Yeah.
Twice this season.
Yeah, he didn't look great last night, but
I didn't watch
they
the
usually
game,
get-
so
didn't
I don't know.
either. I was working for the first half, and then I was playing Shell for the second half.
I was watching that crazy Canadian game.
They're saying that that's probably the most entertaining all-Canadian. That's the longest.
It's the longest
all-Canadian
game in
Winnipeg history.
Winnipeg.
In Manitoba
that was
history.
played in Manitoba.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that's the same thing.
I mean, Winnipeg could have played somewhere else.
Yeah,
and
but
gone longer.
I'm still pretty sure that's the longest game in Winnipeg. Even the old Jets that became the Avalanche. No,
Coyotes.
the Yotes. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
It's such a weird history. I don't even want to get into that.
it is.
The Jets and Yotes are the same thing, but also the Atlanta Thrashers and Jets are the same thing,
Yep.
and my head hurts.
Who do you think wins the series?
Oh, Vegas.
Vegas?
Vegas is going to win. I think they're going to win Game 6.
I mean, they got 2 shots to do it.
Yeah.
And one back in Vegas.
I think they're going to learn from their mistake from 2019 and the Sharks of, well, we got it one, so we'll just keep playing the game and not step up our game, and then they lose.
that game.
Granted, that Game 7, ridiculous. So that should not have been a major penalty. I think everyone agrees that should not have been a major. That's why they started reviewing those.
That's why they
That
have
is
the
the main
review now.
reason.
that
Because
game.
that just swung the entire momentum, and then Sharks got to the conference finals, right? Before they lost to
Nashville.
no, it was 2019.
Oh, was it?
Before they lost to the Blues. Blues beat the Jets in the first round, Stars in the second round, the Sharks in the third round.
Yeah.
Don't ask me why I know that.
That game was insane. I was in bed, and then I was just scrolling through Twitter, and I saw everybody freaking out. I was like, oh, chaos, I must tune in. So then I went and turned it on. I was like, what the fuck?
I watched most of that game from the audio booth at my other job. Got home in time for the third period because it was on, the 9 o'clock start because it's a West Coast game. Sat in my chair. I was like, well, good. I'm glad Vegas is going to win this one. And then the penalty happens right after the draw. I'm like, ooh, that didn't look good. Major, are you sure about that? And they scored 1. I'm like, oh, shit. 2. No fucking way. 3. Are you fucking kidding me? They tied it, and then they went ahead. I'm like, what in the fuck is happening?
And then Marchessault ties it up again for Vegas.
Oh, dude, I was like, you better tie this shit up. This can't end like this. And then they did it like, fuck, thank God.
And
I was
then-
rooting for Vegas.
And then overtime. I was rooting for Vegas too,
overtime.
but once it went to overtime, I was like, what if the Sharks win? That would be really amazing. Because I
Fleury.
always root for chaos. And then they did, and it was a bad goal.
I mean, and nothing Fleury could do. I mean, he stopped and then he had no defensive help. That's what the problem was. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
And Fleury did what I think goalies should do of like, what did I do? If Tim Thomas was just skated off like, oops, oh well.
Bye.
I lost, but Fleury was like, fuck.
Yeah, last night Mike Smith just kind of died on the ice afterward. That was really funny.
Remember when Lundqvist died after giving up the game-winning goal to the Kings, and he just laid there for a
Fucking
good 2
Alec
minutes?
Martinez, always Alec Martinez in that fucking
Wow.
2014
I
run.
miss Lundqvist.
Me too.
We good Lundqvist, not this like guy getting replaced with a rookie goalie like last year.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, I got Vegas winning. I didn't take a drink. I don't even know why I picked it up.
That brings us to the last series that we haven't talked about yet. Toronto and Montreal.
I think we both know who we're rooting for.
I would say so, yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely rooting for the Leafs.
This has been a wild series so far.
Yeah. The Byron goal was incredible to win game 1.
Oh, God.
Just like everything that could go wrong for the Leafs in that play went wrong. You even tweeted that, and it's like, yeah, shorthanded, bad pass by Jumbo Joe.
He's been trash in this series. Oh, my God. He has been bad.
Instead of winning it for him, they're going to win it despite him.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I think even in 15, Kimmo Timonen was better for the Blackhawks than Jumbo has been.
And he was not great.
No, he was
did
like...
not play well.
He was like a third of a human at that point.
But the Leafs are doing what the Blackhawks did for all 3 years and won the Cup, is start the season with an old guy.
You got to have the old guy.
Win it for the old guy, and the Juggernaut train just starts up. It's another Dangle reference.
But they also have Wayne Simmons.
Yeah.
And I fucking love Wayne Simmons.
I was not a fan of Wayne Simmons early going, because he plays on edge.
I've loved him since Philly.
Yeah, I've come around on him. He was at Philly, and then where? And then the Leafs. He wasn't always on
Nashville? I want to say he was traded to Nashville.
Because they had PK as well.
Then he went to Buffalo after New Jersey?
I think even Sabre fans are upset or are feeling sorry for Oilers fans right now. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Was Philly?
I know it was Philly
Nashville,
first.
New Jersey, Buffalo, Toronto.
He's becoming journeyman.
I want to say.
You said if they win the series, you're getting a Simmons jersey, correct?
I am.
Are you going to get just another normal blue or white? Are you going to go with an Arenas jersey or St. Pat's
Retinas,
jersey?
you mean?
A Retinas, yeah.
I was right. Philly, Nashville, Jersey, Buffalo, Toronto. Yes!
Nice. You should get did they wear the St. Pat's ones this year? They did. You should get a Wayne Simmons St. Pat's jersey.
Those are nice.
I have one, but I don't wear it.
Why not?
I spilled mustard on the and it's a white jersey.
Good job.
And I didn't get any OxyClean in time, and it's stained now, so I don't wear it.
That sucks.
Devastated. Absolutely devastated.
Yeah, but Jumbo's been trash. Wayne has been good.
Yes. William Nylander has fucking found
MVP.
that extra. Absolutely right now.
Best player for Toronto
He
right
found
now.
that. He found that Blackhawks level of next step, and he's taken it. Austin Matthews finally got to that level. It took him a couple games, but
He was at that level in game 2. He wasn't great in game 3.
not. Oh, really?
He was good.
Well, not the whole Leafs team didn't seem that good in Leafs. In
Both
game 3.
teams were playing horribly, and I said it in my video.
Somebody wanted to be in Montreal.
Fair. That I wanted Willie to be on a line with Matthews because it seemed like on their respective lines, their other 2 line mates were just dragging their game down.
Yeah.
I want to see them play together. I don't know if Sheldon Keefe does it yet, especially since they have the series lead, but I want to see it.
Yeah.
And Marner's trash. Holy shit, he has been bad.
He's not trash. He's just playing like trash.
He's trash in this series. Not as trash as Jumbo,
Yeah.
but he's like...
Done nothing.
He's having a series like Patrick Kane had last half of the season, where he looks horrible, but he's still putting up points.
Well, is he hurt?
I don't know.
Because Kane wound up they wound up saying that Kane was hurt the whole second half, which is why he stopped, why his production went down.
Yeah, I heard that.
And it's like that's unfortunate because that's kind of what happened. There was one playoff run where one of our top guys, I can't remember which one it was, just like stopped playing well, and it led to them getting beat. I don't remember.
It led to them getting beat in a series?
I think so. So it was either the Kings series or the Blues or Nashville. I think. Or maybe we won and they just stopped playing. We know Hossa was...
Hossa in 13
Did he get hurt?
had the back injury, and he missed a game or 2.
Yeah, that's right.
He missed a game against Boston, and they lost that game.
Yeah, it was game 3.
And then he came back, and they won because the Blackhawks need Marian Hossa to be successful.
Yeah, Ben Smith played in that game. He had his name on the cup that year. Oh,
Benny. And then he captained the Marlies to a Calder Cup.
Yeah. Good for him.
Yeah.
And then did he retire? Or is he still playing?
I don't know. He might be playing in Europe.
That could be too. I love Smitty. I have an Ice House jersey that's blank that I need to get somebody's name on. I was thinking about Jomberson.
Ben Smith.
Because I love him. I was thinking Ben Smith too, but I've been leaning towards Leighton forever.
Also a good choice.
Because I was there. I was on the ice when he got his shutout.
I was at the game. I wasn't on the ice.
When he got the shutout record. I got to film his and his family's reactions, the team reaction. I got to go in the locker room.
That's awesome.
It was a fun time. I'm the one that made all the videos, and I made Flo Rida's "My House" his theme song.
Nice.
And everyone liked it except for Mike Peck, and I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Everyone likes it because it's his house. You ain't fucking doing shit.
I remember that. That was a good one.
It's awesome.
But Toronto.
Yeah, back to NHL.
It's been a good series so far. I
mean, it's been not as much goal scoring as I would have thought.
Carey Price has looked really good.
Yeah.
Which is annoying because he came off of an injury and then losing to the Marlies and whatever.
Playoff Carey Price is different from regular season Carey Price.
I guess so. But
I mean, look at last year when they beat Pittsburgh.
True.
Was he started last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is his first play in since they lost to Ottawa, I think. Did they play Ottawa? Is that who Ottawa beat in the first round and then beat the Rangers? I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
All I know is Carey Price looks awesome in the playoffs every time he's in the playoffs.
Jack Campbell looks good for the Leafs, though.
Except for that goal he gave up yesterday. That was bad.
That was just a good shot.
He
should have saved it. But it was also a good shot. And you see that goal go in a lot, strangely.
It was far side. It was a good shot, but it's one that you...
But also Morgan Riley.
That was a good
What
goal.
Was he doing on that goal? He just stopped skating. It was like his controller disconnected in shell.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
And then he was able to turn it back on, but it was like 5 seconds too late.
Yeah.
And Suzuki had already taken the shot.
That reminds me of that Tampa Bay goal that you didn't see. It was in the 11 o'clock game a few days ago. The first goal of the game, it was 4-on-4 because every game has to have 3 4-on-4. I don't know. I've never seen this much 4-on-4 hockey.
Me either. It's been crazy.
It boggles my mind. I never see the Blackhawks at 4-on-4 unless it's for 5 seconds or something. It's never just coincidental,
right.
coincidental.
It's wild
all the time. And it was 4-on-4, and one of the defensemen went off, and the defenseman was lining up for a hit, and the forward that was covering for the defenseman was like, "I'm gonna also sandwich the guy," leaving I think Braden Point or Coburn or somebody wide open, just untouched, snipe. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. What are you doing? You see your defenseman lining up for a hit, and you're like, oh, nobody's right next to me. I'll just go for the hit as well. And then wide open breakaway for stupid. I didn't see what Morgan Riley did on that play because I was working. But was it anywhere close to as stupid as that?
No. It was
he
bad.
Just stopped skating.
It was bad, but it wasn't like you need to be benched for the rest of the game bad. It was just like,
is this like he just took a weird angle? Because
it's like he made the decision too late. Like you could see the second it clicked, he's like, oh, I need to play defense.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Because he shot it from pretty far, top of the circle.
Top of the circle, yeah.
So it's not like he had time to come in. I think he just... I don't know.
Yeah. But, man, game number 1, Montreal came out hitting everything in sight.
I think the Maple Leafs only lost that game for one reason, and I don't really want to get into that reason.
They were completely taken out of the game, and I think everybody was.
Yeah. I mean, if there had been a crowd there, they would have been just as silent as it was in real life.
Absolutely.
Without people there, it was going to be just as quiet.
That was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
I don't want to get into the medical professionals that happened with that injury, but you see he's unconscious almost. You don't pick him up. You roll him over and you talk to him. Instead you're like, no, let's just pick you up on your knees and you're falling backwards, bleeding from your head. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, they said that he was trying to get up on his own. That's why they were securing his neck. But
that's when you tell him hey man, let's.
He wasn't listening.
He
couldn't. He didn't know where he was.
Didn't know where he was. Didn't know who he was talking to.
Yeah.
Was it
Spezza?
Spezza came over and talked to him, and that's the only voice he recognized.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, buddy.
Oh, God. That was.
I also want to talk about Corey. I don't like Corey Perry. He's that kind of rat. He's been forever. He's an asshole on the ice.
Dirty fucking player.
But there's no fucking way he intended that. You could see
Absolutely
he was
not.
visibly shaking.
That was 1,000% an accident.
That's the first time I've ever seen Corey Perry actually show remorse. I did not want to do that. And then I don't understand Foligno. I do, but I don't understand Foligno's philosophy of, you hurt our player, I'm going to fight you. And Corey Perry's I didn't want to. I'm not Tom Wilson. Fighting is not going to fix this time.
I understand the fight.
You want to get your team behind it.
Don't like the culture that forces that to happen.
I agree.
Everybody knew it was an accident.
Yeah, I don't even think the fans would have been into that fight if there had been fans. I'd be no, we don't want a fight right now. You can hurt somebody else. And he just kept pounding him. Corey Perry just took his gloves off just to do the dance. Okay, I'm going to pretend to fight you. I'm not going to throw a punch, though. I think he might have thrown one just to, stop.
It was
punch on the ground. Okay, enough, man. What are you doing?
It was kind of nice to see him get pummeled for all the shit that he's pulled. But it was the wrong time for it.
It was absolutely the wrong time. And he wasn't even trying to defend himself.
Yeah.
He was I get it, but I don't think this is the time. And then as soon as the puck drops, fine, let's do it.
But if that hadn't happened, people online would be like, nobody's going to stand up for the captain. They're just going to let it go.
If it was intentional, yeah. If it was just an actual hit, even in real time, you could tell he was trying to get out of the way. Mm-hmm. Slow motion.
He tried to jump over him.
Yeah, he was coming down. He was like, oh shit, and then
he has a split second in real time to try to get out of the way. And he's also probably like, what the fuck just happened while trying to move?
In football or baseball or basketball, you have more time. But on skates and on ice, it's I'm going to go forward. I can't just stop on a dime.
Exactly.
So let's try and get out of the way. And
it was not intentional.
No, and I disagree with the fight.
I disagree with it, but I understand why it happened. And I know that there would have been outrage if it didn't happen because that's how dumb this is.
Which is even more dumb.
It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. But thankfully, he's okay. He's got a concussion, but otherwise okay.
Yeah. They said at least 2 weeks.
For the knee.
Yeah, that's
because he got a knee injury from that as well.
Well, because the way he landed. I mean,
yeah.
I saw another take of okay, the Corey Perry hit wasn't malicious. That was an accident. But the initial hit,
fucking Ben Sherrod, dude.
He led with his legs, which you can't do. That's the reason.
I had no opinion on this guy before this series. He is dirty as fuck. Last night, I think it was a shift against Zach Hyman, and he was less concerned about defending and more concerned with just injuring Hyman. He was just chasing him around, cross-checking him.
Did you see the very end of that game last night?
The Toronto game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You saw the entire thing?
Yeah.
Montreal pulled the goalie. They're trying to get a goal, and I didn't see who it was.
Oh my God, that last 2 minutes was, I don't think I breathed.
The Maple Leaf skater, as the time expires, comes up, hits the Montreal skater because he had the puck, and then as soon as he stopped, he saw the clock, and as he was going for the hit, the buzzer sounded, and he was like, "Dude, sorry, I didn't mean to do that." And he gets mugged from behind by a Canadian. I'm like, "Dude, he clearly said sorry. He's like, I didn't mean to hit you. I didn't say the time." He's like, "Sorry, bud." He's like, "Oh, you can't off our place." I just said sorry. I get standing up for your teammate, but I literally said sorry. And
they know that they're being outplayed, so now they're trying to goon it up.
Speaking of them gooning it up, trying to goon up Matthews, and Matthews just
I'm not doing shit.
On the ground,
just
getting
laughing.
I'm literally just laying here, I'm doing nothing. The game before, getting attacked from behind, just
laughing.
What are you doing?
That's hilarious. But
you're gonna take a penalty, and I'm not gonna retaliate giving us a power play. You're an idiot.
I'm glad that he's doing that and not just going full red vision and playing into it, though.
Yeah. So Matthews may not have looked great last night, but he's at least cool-headed enough to be like, I'm not going to take a penalty. Yeah. I'm just going to do what I can to draw penalties instead of taking them. And
pretty much.
If we can't score, I know Willie Nee will score, so it's all good. And that goal by Morgan Riley was fucking sick.
That was a nice goal.
Just Morgan Riley passed it. Was it to, I think that was to Marner, wasn't it?
It was Marner, yeah.
And then Marner passed it right back, and he just waits. Okay, snipe. Cool.
As Carey Price is just sliding away.
It's like, oh, oops. Well.
It was so funny watching the replay in slow motion. The puck's just going in, and there goes Price out of screen.
That was a fun goal.
Who wins the series?
Toronto? I think Montreal might steal another one because that's the way the Canadian series seems to go. I know Winnipeg and
Yeah.
Edmonton. That shouldn't have gone there.
It shouldn't have.
But Carey Price is too good not to steal another game. So I think they might steal the next one, unfortunately.
Fair point. I don't have a prediction for that one.
I can't.
I can't. Every time I predict something, it goes
I
very
will
wrong.
say I did predict the Blackhawks in 6 against Boston and against Tampa.
There you go.
And I nailed it.
You did.
So
there's the predictions. Those are the series so far. It's been a good one.
yeah. Do you have a prediction for Final Four? Just to lay it out there, or an official one? Like, assuming that Toronto wins.
I'm not guessing this.
And you said Vegas wins.
I did not say Toronto wins. I don't have a prediction for
I
that.
said assuming Toronto wins, because that's what we want to happen.
I'm going to go Colorado.
Okay, over Vegas.
Boston.
Over the Islanders.
This one's hard because none of the series are done yet. I can go with what I want to happen. Carolina. If it's not Carolina, it's going to be Tampa.
Yeah. I don't see Florida coming back
And
again.
who knows who they play, because I don't know who wins that.
Best case scenario for me right now is Leafs, Vegas, Islanders.
Vegas, really? Not Colorado.
I said Vegas, my third team.
That's right. Okay.
Although I did wear a Wild jersey last night just to fuck with Brandon. Islanders and Hurricanes, although Panthers getting to the Final Four would be fun too, because Coach Q and Huberdeau is one of my
I'm not
favorite
ready for the
players.
Q fanboys to come out of the woodworks even more so than they have already.
to switch teams from Blackhawks to Panthers. Or
They're
really
just
do
so
that?
angry about him getting fired, even though it was time. But yeah, so that's been the playoffs so far. It's been good. I think the best game so far has been Game 1 between the Florida
Yeah,
men.
absolutely. That makes hockey fans.
Yeah.
I want to go through and see how many overtime games we've had, because I swear we're already at, like, even in recent memory, we're at as many overtime games as they've had all playoffs long. Okay, there's 2 yesterday. There's 2 the day before.
4,
There's 2 the day before, or 2 days before that.
6,
1 before that.
7,
1 before that.
8,
1 before that.
9,
3 before that.
12,
1 before that.
13.
13 overtime
In
games.
the first round.
In the first round, and we're not done yet.
That's crazy.
I can see Toronto and Montreal going to an overtime.
Don't say that.
Did they go to overtime game too?
No.
They haven't gone to an overtime game yet. It's coming. Every series has to have at least one overtime game. Florida and Tampa had one.
Carolina's had one. Boston had one. Pittsburgh had one.
Islanders, yeah,
They didn't. Colorado didn't.
because they dominated.
Yeah, they did.
Vegas and Minnesota
They
obviously
did.
have, yeah.
And yeah.
So apart from Colorado, every series needs an overtime game. So
All right.
I'm expecting another couple. I think
I like it.
I think one of these one of these few remaining will be ended in overtime.
I think so too.
I'm thinking probably Vegas, to be honest with you. I
Yeah.
think Vegas will win in overtime in the next game.
I'll take it. That's been the first round. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you like this podcast, go rate and subscribe on all of the things. All the things are in the show notes for social media, and you can follow John over there as well.
ZB&J Podcast.
Hell yeah. I'll link it in the show notes so people can find it. But thanks for coming on with me.
Thanks for having me. I had a blast.
Of course. We'll have to do this for the second round, too, once that ever comes around.
Yeah, you need to get another mic and
I know,
sit
that's-
Jackie somewhere.
Yeah.
Or sit me somewhere.
We'll figure it
I
out.
can also Skype. It's fine.
Yeah, just move the camera back a bit, widen up the shot. But yeah. Whew. Now we just wait to see what the
Second
results
round-
are going to be.
The second round unfolds, and apart from Boston moving on, granted, I didn't want Washington to move on either. Everything's pretty good right now.
I agree.
Things are looking good.
I agree. I like it. Hope you all like it as well. And I'll catch you all next time. Bye.
See ya.